Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday at noon, and then I post it up to Facebook. I do these every Wednesday, and I answer the questions that I couldn't get to on Sunday. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. The views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other damn therapist for that matter. Boom, shakalaka done. Okay, I want to thank my sponsor, BetterHelp, BetterHelp, betterhelp.com/Chris Godinez. They're an online therapy company. They are international. So if you're telling me that you're having to wait 6 months, 8 months, a year to get in to see a therapist, go on to betterhelp.com/Chris Godinez. They'll have you fill out some questions. They'll put you in with a licensed professional master's level or PhD level therapist in your state or in the USA. So there that is. So betterhelp.com/Chris Godinez. Cool. All right. So let's dive into it. There's a bunch of questions that I did not get to. Chris, can you make a video on how to be a good leader when you're surrounded by a bunch of narcissistic colleagues /subordinates? Okay, here's the deal. Narcissists are incredibly threatened by people who have honor, integrity, own their own stuff, etc., etc., etc. The problem of it is no matter what you do, they're out to get you because they're threatened by you. Remember, narcissists are, what's the word I'm looking for? They are incredibly insecure, and they have to be the best of 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 the best, and they're not, and they know it. And especially when faced with a leader that really is a leader and is filled with honor, filled with integrity, doing the right thing, looking out for their, the subordinates or whatever, they will be resentful and angry and nasty because you're making them look bad. So really, you just do what you can. And there's no trick. I mean, basically, you've got to be bulletproof. You've got to be able to withstand the completely unfounded accusations, the rumor mills, the whole thing. You try to oust those people that you know are doing that, It's difficult to do because what ends up happening is narcissists and bad managers and narcissists, what's the difference, get promoted up and out. That's what they do. They promote them up and out. And they just keep getting a higher position. So it's really difficult to get rid of somebody who is disordered once they are in an organization, because remember, they love to play the victim. If it suits their purposes, oh, you're discriminating against me, blah, 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 blah. When in fact, they're the ones that have been running around stabbing everybody in the back and making a hostile work environment. So, I mean, that is one thing that you could get them on, as a hostile work environment. If they're spreading rumors and making it, unsafe to work there, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, then you could theoretically get them out on a hostile work environment. It's incredibly difficult to do because you got to prove it, and you've got to have people that are willing to stand up and say something. So when I was working in Selwood at the mental hospital there, we had this boss that was like, oh, don't talk about salary and da-da-da. And I'm like, the only way to get fairly paid is to know what everybody else is making. So when I found out that I was making more than two ladies that had been there for literally centuries, I was like, they do the lion's share of the work. Why am I getting paid more? That's not okay. So I went and I talked to my superior and I said, look, they're getting nothing. This is not fair. They need to have a raise. This isn't okay. And of course, immediately my boss was like, oh, you're a rebel rouser. You're this, you're that. And I'm like, damn straight I am. What are you going to do? Fire me? Do it. I dare you. And you have to have that kind of chutzpah, basically, because they're basically cowards. Did he fire me? No. He left me alone because he was afraid of me. So, but it's difficult when you've got superiors that are personality disordered and they're jealous and they're intimidated and they don't like you, and they'll make your life a living hell. So how do you lead? You be you. You have integrity, you have honor, you do what's right. That is what you do. And that's the best thing you can do. And that is how you get them out of there. Either that or it comes to a huge blow up and then you sue them for hostile work environment. So, you know, you gotta be true to yourself, and you've got to be true to your ethics, and you've got to be true to your code of honor. And what they want more than anything is they want people to not be true to their code of ethics. It really gives them great pleasure when they can force somebody to go against their own personal code of ethics. It gives them the biggest rush on the face of the planet because they're freaking evil. So there that is. Okay, I hope that answered that question. Okay, let's go back over to this question. What is behind me here? Oh, it's these things. Okay. I was like, what is this big tag behind me? Okay. Can you give some tips on how to deal with empath fatigue, especially when it's chronic? Okay. So I talk about that in So You Want to Be a Therapist. So most people who go into a helping profession, where is that book? Oh, let me just, blah, 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 blah. This is my book. So You Want to Be a Therapist, available on Amazon, and I also read it on Audible. So I talk about compassion fatigue. I talk about burnout. So really what you got to do is you got to do self-care. Self-care like a boss. Now, this last week was supposed to be self-care for me and John. Unfortunately, Disney saw to it that it was otherwise. Don't get me started. Don't go to Disney. It's too expensive. They don't give a damn. I sent a letter to Bob Chapek, Robert Iger, and the guest services. Do you think any one of them have even acknowledged that I sent them a letter of complaint? Well, the guest services was like, oh, we're having a huge amount of emails right now. And I'm like, gee, I wonder why. Anyway, self-care. Sorry, I went off on a tangent. So self-care. So last week was supposed to be self-care. When I went to visit my sister, that from Friday to Monday was self-care because I got to spend time with my sister and her puppy. And that was heaven to me because, you know, our dogs have passed because they were older. So I got to go play with a puppy and I got to play with my sister and we got to see pretty things in Santa Barbara and go out to some amazing restaurants and see the beach and smell the ocean air. And that was heaven. If I could retire by the beach and have a bed and breakfast, I would be a happy, happy little clam. So you do self-care and you make sure that you care for yourself regularly. So you don't just save it up for vacations. So in other words, if I had been depending on last week to be relaxing, I'd be in a world of hurt because it wasn't. It was an act in frustration and it was like dealing with a bunch of disordered people. Wow, what a surprise. So, you know, it's really important to do self-care on a daily basis. You know, some form of self-care, some form of relaxation, meditation, going for walks, getting in exercise, going swimming, go visit friends, go do things like that. It's a daily thing. It's not just a grand gesture, and it doesn't have to be expensive. Everybody's like, oh, well, you know, I can't afford to go get a massage and things like that. Well, you don't have to go get a massage. Go take a nice, beautiful bubble bath. Those are awesome. Go for a walk. Call a good friend. Go out for coffee or tea, you know, have fun. Go. When was the last time you went bowling? Seriously, I love to bowl. Bowling's fun. I haven't done it in forever, so I need to go do that again, you know. When was the last time you flew a kite? When was the last time you drew or did chalk or whatever? You know, go do something that really recharges your soul. And it's got to be on a daily basis, just little things. Doesn't have to be expensive, doesn't have to be a grand gesture, doesn't have to be anything like that. Vacations are great, you know, provided that you're actually going to some place that respects your money and respects your time. Don't go to Disney. So, you know, vacations are great, but, you know, you got to do things on a daily basis. So that's what I would suggest. So yes, we do get chronic fatigue, empath fatigue, and we do get burnout, and it's because we don't take care of ourselves. You've got to get into the habit, and I talk about that in this book. You've got to get into the habit that when you leave your job, if you're a caregiver, if you're a helper, if you're in the helping profession, you've got to get into the habit that when you leave your job, you shut the door, the clients stay there. They don't come home with you. Now, for all of us that have been working from home for the last 2 years, what I get into the habit of doing is that when I'm done and I shut that door, it stays here in this office and that's it. It doesn't permeate through the rest of my house. It's like, nope, clients are there. My home life is here. And I have to be strict about boundaries. Some people want to call me and talk to me on the weekends. And I'm like, no, guys, I don't work on the weekends. And I'm not going to chat with you on the texting, because it's like, I want to be with my family. I want to be with my friends. I need to relax. I need to not think. And that's the big thing. It's like when you get out of a helping job or you leave that job for the night, you really want to be able to shut your brain down and go, okay, I've done everything I can. There is nothing more I can do. I will pick it up tomorrow morning. You shut the door and you make that a real strong boundary. You make that a real, that's work, this is home, that kind of thing. And you have to, for your own sanity, you have to. So, and I don't mind doing little, good job or, things like that. But if somebody tries to engage me in like this deep conversation, I'm like, look, you're going to need to call my office on Monday and we'll set up an appointment, And some people get angry, but it's like, I can't do this 24/7. If I did it 24/7, I would be a puddle of yuck on the floor and no good to anybody. Because everybody, especially if you're in a helping profession, needs time to go down and just not think, or do something fun, or do something goofy, or watch a good movie, or, hang out with friends, or take a bath, or go for a walk, or whatever. So yeah, so you definitely want to be doing self-care, and it doesn't have to be expensive. So I hope that answered the question, and that will keep it at bay. It really will. So, when you're in a helping profession, you've got to do it daily. You do every other day at the very least, and that will help keep it at bay. If you're getting to the point where it's chronic and you're just like burnt out, dear Lord, take a vacation, take a leave of absence, do whatever you need to do. Figure out why. What's going on? Why are you allowing them to live rent-free in your head? What's happening? Why are you taking them with you wherever you go? You don't want to do that. You need to leave them at work and you go live your life. So yeah. Okay. What do you think about IFS for non-DID? IFS. You guys throw these abbreviations at me and I have no idea. Let me get back to you because I'm going to have to look it up because I don't know. So I will get back to that question. I will probably answer it next week. Can abusers smell fear or insecurity? Yes, but they're not good at poker playing. Let me put it to you that way. So again, when I was dealing with the jerk at the Selwood place that I was working at, yeah, he came blustering in and, how dare you, you're a rebel rouser, blah, blah, blah. And I basically did the acting job of my life. And I was like fearless, right? In that moment. Of course, now when he left, I was like, oh, well, I might need to go look for another job. Damn, So I was scared, but you don't show it. When you're dealing with a narcissist, yes, they're like predators. They like predators. They are predators. And they smell blood in the water. So if you show you're fearful or show that you're scared or show that you're insecure or anything like that, they go for the jugular. And it's almost like they're like psychic, because it's like they almost know intrinsically what is going to get you, and so they go for that one thing that they know that you're afraid of or that they think that you're afraid of. So for my boss, it was, well, you're a woman, you need a job, so I'm going to threaten your job. And I'm just like, do it, a-hole, go ahead. Would I be happy if I had gotten fired? No, but I would have found another job. Was I scared? A little bit, you bet. But you cannot show fear with those people. You cannot. They're just freaking evil. And they look for people that are codependent, that are very empathic, that are fearful, that live in fear, because boy, they play on it. Some of the things I've heard them say and do are just insane. Hold on. Okay. So yes, they can smell fear. Absolutely. And or insecurity, which is why when you are, and this is what I talked about on Sunday, which is why if you're late for a meeting, you don't want to walk in and go, oh, I'm so sorry I'm late. No. Thanks, you guys, for waiting for me. Let's start. There's nothing. They got nothing. It's a form of gray rock in a way. So, yeah, they do look for fear. They do look for any reason to, twist the story, get to the jugular, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This was a follow-up related to the hypervigilance to facial expression question. What if you're seeing what if what you're seeing in other people is not so much their facial expressions, but the aura of that person, kind of like children and pets can sense? Okay. So you're talking gut instinct. Gut instinct. Okay. So you want to make sure that you're really listening to your gut instinct and not just guessing what somebody is thinking or feeling. Okay. So gut instinct, let's talk about that. This is why I always tell you guys to listen to your gut. The gut instinct is kind of like intuition. It really is. So the gut is like our second brain. There are neurons in our gut, which is why if the gut is not healthy, you're going to have depression, you're going to have anxiety, you're going to have all sorts of issues. The gut has got to be healthy. So intuition is when you walk into a room, and I know you've all done this. I've done this. You've done this. I'm pretty sure everybody on the planet has done this that is even the least bit empathic. You walk into a room and you can tell if there's been an argument. You can tell if the energy is off. You can walk into a room and just kind of be like, oh, that person, nope, don't want anything to do with them. So, for example, we were on our way back and we stopped in Palm Springs to just spend the night and not have to travel the whole way home. And we went and got dinner, and we went to this great little restaurant. And there was this woman sitting next to us that the second I walked in and I heard her voice, I was like, oh, she is bad news bears. And as we were sitting there, John leaned over to me and he's like, whew, personality disorders much? And every single time anybody at that table tried to talk or share or do whatever, she would start talking insanely loudly and me, I, more, that kind of thing. And I just was like, oh, great. I get to listen to this all throughout dinner. So yeah, you absolutely, you get a feel for the energy. You get a feel for what's going on. You get a feel for how they're acting. You get a feel for whatever. So you trust your gut. You trust your gut. You listen to your gut and you trust your gut. That is the gut intuition. However, it's like I wait for actions to verify what my gut is saying. So, I walked in, heard her, kind of went, to be on the lookout, sat down, got louder and louder and louder and kept talking over people and interrupting people and the whole thing. And I went, yeah, I was right. Yep. Mm-hmm. So you kind of verify, you listen and you verify, that kind of thing. So you do trust your gut. You absolutely do. And you don't want to do necessarily snap judgments, but if your gut is screaming at you, listen to it. There's a reason it's screaming at you. It's barking at you for a reason. So listen to your gut. Absolutely. Okay, let's go back to, okay. Could it be they smell fear or weakness and think they can unload on us with scowls and dirty looks? Yeah, absolutely. If they think somebody is insecure, they test it. They do. And they do the scowls and they do the dirty looks and they want you to feel less than. So if you're ever like, okay, remember that woman I was talking about in Santa Barbara that, we pulled into the parking lot and she walked in front of our car and we weren't even near her and she was just like glaring at us, and I was just like, damn, biatch, sucks to be you, So yes, they're testing the waters. And here's the funny thing. Second half of that story that I didn't tell you on Sunday is that we got out of the car, we got our stuff, and guess who was sitting there trying to get their parking ticket? She couldn't make eye contact with us. She didn't say a word. She looked, ready for a fight, but terrified. And I just was like, I thought so. you know? So yeah, they do, you know, they want to have this air of superiority, and intimidation is used mostly by the overt narcissists, sometimes by the covert ones, but it's mostly by the overt ones, and they puff up themselves and, oh, I'm blustering and da, 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 and then they get confronted with the person they just tried to start an argument with, and they crumble. So yeah, so, and again, you just don't let them get under your skin. You know, this woman's miserable. It's clear she's miserable. I'm sorry that she's miserable, and not my problem. You know, and when I say I'm sorry, I mean I'm sorry for her. You know, it's like, wow, sucks to be you, lady. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you just let them go. You cannot change another person. What other people think of us is none of our damn business. What she was thinking about me and Nancy, none of our damn business. And we didn't let it ruin our day, you know? But it was a great example of, wow, somebody using that nonverbal communication to try to puff up and be, you know, aggressive and nasty. And then, of course, she was confronted with us outside of the car, both getting the parking ticket. And boy, she just, and I'm just like, yeah, I thought so. So yeah, so just, you know, you get away from them. There's no point in engaging with them. You are not obligated to attend every argument you're invited to. You're just not. So let's see, that appears to be that for those group of questions, but there were other questions that I did not get to. Can you touch on why narcissists cry after discarding you and know that you're not leaving? Well, remember, the crying is never because of you. It's not genuine. It's, you know, if you decide not to leave and they've done a discard and you've told them you're not leaving, you know, maybe they're relieved that they don't have to go look for another supply. I don't know. Narcissists do the weirdest things, and I'm going to be talking about that in a few weeks. We're going to talk about conspiracy theories. We're going to talk about the way narcissists think. You know, the weird ideas they come up with, the weird sexual ideas they come up with, you know, all sorts of very strange ideas that they have. So crying, maybe they were trying to preemptively, you know, make it so that you didn't get back at them, you know. They're crying, they're remorseful, whatever, you know, who knows? I don't know. I would need to know more about that particular situation to really comment, because, you know, yes, narcissists all act alike, but they do have variations. So yeah, so there's that. Okay. My therapist told me that seeking physical relief is a defense mechanism. I wonder if that's correct. I'm not quite sure what they're talking about. So I can only assume, okay, I'm going to assume it's sexual. So if you're constantly getting involved in relationships and you're avoiding working on yourself, yeah, that's a defense mechanism. If you're constantly seeking one-night stands and avoiding working on yourself, that's a defense mechanism. I'm not quite sure the context. So yeah, I mean, if you're avoiding doing the work and you're doing physical things, you know, over-exercising, having sex, you know, getting into relationship after relationship and not doing the work, then yeah, that would be a defense mechanism. But I don't understand the context. I don't know. So that's the best guess I can give you to that answer. Yes, that is correct if that's what's going on, but I'm not sure of the context. So what is the difference between emotional abuse and just being rude? Okay. Emotional abuse is over and over and over and over and over and over and over, and it's calculated and it's intentional and it's got a target. Now, being rude oftentimes has a target as well. Witness that woman in the parking lot. So, you know, is it abuse? Was that abuse? No, not for me, because I didn't take it personally. Not for Nancy. She didn't take it personally. Not for John. He didn't take it personally. We don't know this woman from Adam. Who knows what's going on with her? So was she rude? Yeah, absolutely. Bad attitude. Boy, sucks to be that mean and nasty and angry all the time. So, you know, whatever, you know, is that abuse? No, it's just rude. Abuse would have been if we had gone up to get our ticket and she continued. Now that would have been abuse, because she would have continued her campaign of, puffery and that whole thing. She didn't. She crumbled. So she was just rude. That was just rude. Abuse is intentional. It is directed. It is over and over and over and over and over again. It's singling a scapegoat out and just ripping them to shreds and continuing to rip them to shreds. Now, if she had done that, I probably would have called the police at that point, because I would have been like, lady, what is your problem? Don't come after my sister because she doesn't have great balance. So I will hurt you. So yeah, it's like that would have been abuse. If she had gone after me or Nancy or John or whatever and continued, verbally being obnoxious, then that would have been abuse. Yeah, absolutely. So rude is just rude. Some people just don't have manners. Some people are having a bad day. Some people are arrogant. Some people are abusers, and they try to take it out on everybody, but it doesn't always work. So, and that's a good thing. So yeah. So there is a bit of a difference. One is a one-off. The other one is intentional, directed, goes after a scapegoat, so yeah. Now, like I said, if she had continued, if she had been verbally abusive, if she had, continued not just the scowling and the glaring and the, kind of look, and continued being nasty to us, then that would have been abuse. Absolutely. But she didn't. So that's good. Okay. If you have low self-esteem, is that a sign of narcissism? No, guys. Okay. Listen to me now. Believe me later. Narcissists hate themselves. They hate everybody. If you cut open a narcissist, metaphorically speaking, what you will find is a black seething abyss of hatred of themselves, of you, of the dog, of the lamppost, of the moon, of God, of everybody. They hate everybody. They don't really have great self-esteem. They don't have any esteem. But that is different from a person who has been abused and has low self-esteem. Narcissists don't even consider the self-esteem issue because in their minds, they're perfect. Remember, they're projecting. Every time they say something nasty, cruel, mean, they're talking about themselves. So you guns, you got 2 fingers pointed out. There's 6 pointed back at the narcissist. So self-esteem, low self-esteem comes from, with healthy people, being abused. With a narcissist, they're not even aware that they have low self-esteem. They're not even aware that, what they're doing is wrong. They think everything they do is right. They really do. And furthermore, take that another step, you add in the psychopathy, and they absolutely enjoy harming. They absolutely enjoy inflicting pain, and they do things intentionally. So let me just give you an example. So Nancy and I were talking this weekend. Boy, every time I talk to her, I find new things out about my dad, and I'm just like, mind blown. So he apparently would take the kids out, her and her brother, my brother, our brother, and go kill frogs and insist that the kids kill frogs with him. How horrible. How horrible. Most kids like frogs. I like frogs. They're cute, and he would insist that they go hunt frogs with him and insist that they go duck hunting. He made me go duck hunting with him once. Dear God, I was so bored. And I'm just like, no, thank you. So he was very much into killing. He was very small animals. Okay. That should be a red flag for anybody who knows where I'm going with this. Psychopaths start with small animals. Serial killers start with small animals, and then they work their way up the food chain. So was he a killer? No, not to us, but he certainly was antisocial. He certainly broke a lot of rules, a lot of laws, a lot of social norms, etc. But when she told me that, I just kind of went, oh, that explains so much. No empathy, no concern for life, no concern for another person. Yeah. So anyway, how did this, went off on a tangent. Where did I go? So low self-esteem when we've been abused. So when we have parents that are constantly telling us that we're worthless, constantly either telling us or showing us by verbal or nonverbal, and we start believing it. We start believing you get the religious ones. You're evil, you're bad, how dare you? Women are dirty, blah, 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 blah. Men are dirty, whatever. And so you get all of this low self-esteem. No, that does not make you a narcissist. Narcissists don't even recognize they have low self-esteem. They don't even recognize, what is driving them. They just know that they want theirs, and that's it. And they do it on purpose. Whatever they're doing on purpose because it makes them feel good. So they're not considering another living creature around them. So low self-esteem is when we get told all the time, we're bad, we're wrong, we're not good enough, you're ugly, blah, 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 blah. That becomes our inner critic. And the inner critic is what comes with us throughout life until we hear it and we're able to go, oh, thank you for that really nasty thought. That's not even mine. That belongs to Dad. Have a nice life. Bye-bye. Not playing. Go pound in sand. Bye-bye. Go pound sand. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. And you send it off. So no, low self-esteem does not mean you're a narcissist. It doesn't. So because again, a narcissist would never even acknowledge because that means they're not perfect. And to them, they have to be perfect. So yeah, the fact that you're acknowledging you have low self-esteem means you get to work on it, means you can get better. So yes, narcissists don't go to therapy, guys. They don't care. They don't think they need to be fixed. They don't think there's anything wrong with them. It's always somebody else's fault. So I hope that answers your question. It is not a sign of narcissism, no. What is a sign of narcissism is the grandiose behavior, the expecting compliance with your thoughts and wishes, without, if I say jump, you better ask how high. That's a narcissistic statement. Expecting, bragging about military service without commiserate, military service, or bragging about having done something without having actually done it. Lying, cheating, stealing, grandiose behavior, arrogance, lack of empathy. Those are all signs of narcissism. Low self-esteem? No, it means you have low self-esteem. It means somebody lied to you. It means somebody told you did not have intrinsic value. So Self-Esteem Workbook by Glenn Schiraldi. Go get it. Go read it. Go do it. You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. That's another good self-esteem book. So that's what I would strongly recommend. Let's see. Do I have time or am I running out of time? Oh, I'm running out of time. Okay. I'm going to save these other two questions for next week. So, all right, my loves, you guys go have a great week. Next week, we are going to talk about healthy parenting versus unhealthy parenting. How healthy parents do it, how unhealthy parents do it. And believe me, I saw plenty of examples of unhealthy when I was at Disneyland. So, all right, guys, have a great week, and I will talk to you on Sunday. Bye.